What's up, everyone? This is Gainesville to the Glades. I'm Joe, Miami Hurricane fan enthusiast.
And I'm Mike, Florida Gator fan. On today's episode, we're going to be going over the tournament and some other Florida sports. Let's get to it. All right, guys, let's talk about it. The tournament. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Tom James. He picked the winner. Now I had three in the final four, so I had a little lead there, but I didn't have the winner because I have my Gators. Always a homer, but Tom James is the only guy that picked the actual winner, Michigan. Good job, Tom. I guess that's why we brought in that pro.
I only had two. Dan had two in the Final Four. I think we each had a finalist, and Tom pulled it out with Michigan. I had UConn. I think you had
He had Michigan, but he had Michigan lose.
Michigan lose.
Initially, I chose UConn, but I think it went really well.
You went with the Gator homers.
Why not? You gotta respect your team, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's what we do. But it was a great tournament.
I enjoyed it.
That tournament had a lot of action. So many game winners. I had a lot of fun watching it. I wish my Gators would have done better, obviously, but we can't win every year.
I wish my Miami Hurricanes would have went to the Sweet 16, but winning a game in the tournament after only winning 7 last year, I will take it every time.
You have to take that. That was a big turnaround this season. Your coach should be in the running for some kind of award. That was a great turnaround because y'all were sorry last year.
He didn't get nominated for any award for the ACC, which is insane. The Duke coach did, and then he lost in the end of the fourth quarter because he decided to, what did he do? Oh, called the wrong play, and his players messed up.
I called that comeback.
Yeah. Go UConn. The best topic, because this is what we really are here for, we're mentioning a school that we really don't care about. We're doing the best lineups from Florida, Miami, FSU.
And then we're going to grade each other's kind of compare and contrast each other's picks there.
And then maybe get a consensus and pick who we think would win. We chose categories quarterback, running back, 2 skilled positions, a D-line.
2 wide out.
Two wide outs.
It could be a
2 wide outs.
Receiver.
1 defensive line / linebacker, 1 corner / safety.
Right. Secondary.
And I did my lineup. He did his. And then we both did We both did an FSU one.
We haven't seen anything.
No, nobody shared anything. We've been talking smack all week about it, but nobody shared anything.
So you want to get right into it? You want to get?
Let's start with the losers first in FSU. Let's go last. Let's do last place.
So we're the FSU lineup.
Yeah, the FSU lineup. Thanks for clarifying. It wasn't Florida this time. Sorry.
We'll go back and forth. My quarterback for FSU ended up being Charlie Ward.
Mine was Chris. My phone changed it to Chris Wiener instead of Chris Winky, so my phone spell corrected well. But I got Chris Winky.
The old man. He put up a lot of numbers.
Yes, his stats were good. Those teams for 3 or 4 years were awesome.
I was a young man in '93, and I was all about sports. And Charlie Ward was a different animal from '91, '93. That guy was amazing.
Charlie Ward was my number 2 quarterback. I was choosing between those two. Charlie Ward was still unbelievable. I just thought Chris Winky for 4 years was a stud.
He was. He had the numbers for sure. That's what I was saying. But Charlie Ward, still the only Heisman football player to ever play professional basketball. That's how much of an athlete he was, though. So.
Huge stat from Mike there.
Yeah. And nobody cares because it's FSU. My running back, Ward Dunn, who ended up becoming one of my favorite players after he went to the pros.
I was between Work Done. I went Dalvin Cook. Unfortunately, I could see Dalvin Cook ruin Miami's dreams a couple times.
Yeah.
A couple years for Florida. He was a devastating player. You could have went either way, and I would have been happy with it. I think receivers where it gets a little crazy.
It's a little iffy in receiver.
I went Antoine Bolden.
Okay, I love that pick.
One of the best receivers to ever play college and NFL ball. And I went with Peter Warrick. He was unbelievable. He was a weapon, running back, wide receiver, returning player. Did put up stats, not just a return guy.
Peter Warrick was my first pick off the top.
Good, I like that.
And it was because of what you said, not just the receiving. He did some other things. My other one, I went right back to the years with Charlie Ward, though.
Ooh.
With the McCorvey.
Oh, I know which one.
Yeah, McCorvey.
Yeah.
He was too good.
Yeah.
And I just remember that. I was at that age. That was when all that mattered to me was college football.
Yeah.
I was a Gator fan, but I watched it all.
I think the next one should be pretty obvious. Defensive line linebacker. I hope you both went Derek Brooks.
Absolutely, Derek Brooks.
He was the best, one of the best defenders ever.
And then the secondary.
It should be the easy one. I'll let you say
There
it.
were some other ones out there beside him, but you cannot pick anybody over Prime.
No, it's prime time all
It's
day.
prime.
Yeah, no. So that was a pretty good lineup.
It's a tough lineup. You got to give them credit there.
It's-
a little
it's-
bit of a drop off at receiver.
It's good.
And quarterback. You know, they were good, but they weren't. Neither one of them were like.
We're going to
Great,
let
great.
Florida go number 2 because Miami is the back-to-back state champ, so I think we should go last this time. I'm not going to get this to last this year because it's probably not going to happen. Let's go Florida. I'm pretty sure quarterback, we should be the same.
Yeah, I mean, because we were picking the best college team, not the best pro team,
Correct.
not the players that went on to be great later, but college. And there is a quarterback out there that is known to be the greatest college quarterback of all time, and that is Tim Tebow.
I will 100% agree. He is one of the top 3 greatest quarterbacks ever, if not number 1, and probably one of the best college football players of all time. And he should had 2 Heismans. He got robbed of 1 because they felt like they couldn't get him 2 in a row. He should have had 2 in a row.
He should have had 2 in a row. They gave it to Sam Bradford, and then he showed why he was better than Sam Bradford. Now, this I had my little slash. My next pick would have been Grossman.
I had unfortunately got to watch Danny Werfel. Danny
I
Werfel
love
was a
Danny
stud.
Werfel.
Put up numbers that other teams in college football never got to put up because back then it was running teams. They were one of the very first
And it gets to the eye
spread
test.
open ball.
Grossman was a very good quarterback.
Grossman's
But
so good.
it was
Even
definitely- it was
even
Tebow, but
even as an
Tebow.
NFL quarterback, Grossman was still a good college pro quarterback and went to the Super Bowl.
So I'm gonna let you go with the running back. I'm interested in seeing who you
Well,
pick at running back.
I wasn't going to pick this name, but when I looked up the stats to back it up, highest total season seeding yards at running back and second all time in rushing, and that's Emmitt Smith. I don't know. I wanted to think of somebody else, but his stats back up what he did for 4 years. He was their second in almost every category that exists in Florida.
And that left room for someone that was number 1 in every category. And that was my favorite Gator of all time, Mr. Eric Rett.
That was my number 2.
Mr. Eric Rett here. These are all Eric Retts
Yeah,
down here.
there's a lot of Eric Retts on that page. I think that's a whole sheet of Eric Rett.
All these sheets are all Eric Rett.
4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons is in college ball is not possible now,
Right.
and even back then was still not possible.
He was the man. And then he went to the Bucks and he had 1,000 yards his first season, and then, things happened.
Yeah, well,
But Eric Redd's definitely my guy. And then we go to the receivers, and this is where it got a little iffy. We have a lot of great receivers, so
you did.
but picking one that stands out above the rest is easier said than done. My first one is Percy Harvin.
I can consensus on that. I also have Percy Harvin.
And then my second pick for wideout or receiver ended up being Kyle Pitts.
I don't hate that because the stats he put up in college were some of the best tight end stats have ever happened.
He's the only tight end that's ever finished as a finalist in the Heisman. Top 10, anyway.
I had Ike Hillard,
I love Ike Hilliard.
like stud.
Reedell Anthony was another
Yeah, there
one.
was. So,
But,
I mean, we could say
Chris
this name.
Collinsworth.
Aaron
If you go a little-
Hernandez was an unbelievable college tight end.
He
He,
sure was.
one of the best for 2
Too bad he
years.
just liked to murder people.
He chose a different career and it didn't work out for him. But he was an excellent college player.
Instead of making millions in the NFL, he wanted to be a gangster.
Yeah, well,
And at defense, we had to pick a linebacker or a defensive lineman. My first pick on that was the man, Alex Brown.
he is my pick. I remember him during the Miami Hurricanes years. 10, 12 sacks his first year, 33 for the career. Stud.
Stud. I love Alex Brown. He's one of my favorite players of all time, the Gators.
My backup was Javon Curse.
The freak.
Yeah.
He was one of mine too. It was hard to pick a few of those guys. There's some older guys in there that I didn't really see play that I know of, like Wilbur and Lomas. But I wanted to go with someone that I had seen play. Alex Brown was my main guy. In the secondary,
Cool.
my pick was Joe Hayden.
Number 2 on my list, I had Reggie Nelson as the number 1.
Love Reggie Nelson. Lito Shepard was actually my number 2.
There you go. See Joe Hayden. So we're pretty close across the board. That's not bad.
Joe Hayden, you realize like Joe Hayden, his career had two receptions over 30 yards his whole career. That's the only 2 times did someone get
That's
a reception over 30 yards on him.
that's wild.
Yeah.
There's another awesome
Shut
stat
down.
that Mike's brought in that I did not know.
Shut down. So,
Oh.
and I guess we'll go on to the
Back to
losingest team in Florida.
back to back state champs lineup. We got this one. Quarterback. I'll let you lead.
So this was actually harder to pick than I would traditionally thought it was going to be. There's some guys with some better numbers, but in the end, I settled on Testaverde. Vinny.
He was actually number 3 on the list. I went with Ken Dorsey.
Ken Dorsey had the numbers because he played so many years. I think if Vinny had been able to play that many years, he might have been able to do a little bit more numbers.
My number 2 was Cam Ward, because if you give me Cam Ward's skill on any of those Miami teams, I don't know.
The
So,
sample size is only 1 year, but man, his talent was there.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
40 plus touchdowns.
And then on to running back. And I'm pretty sure it's a hard pick, but there is one that stands out above the rest to me. Who did you go with?
I went with Willis McGahee.
Willis McGahee. Wow, that's not who I thought.
The other one was Clinton Portis.
Wow. So neither one of the top guys.
If you pick Frank Gore, probably.
I love Frank Gore, but no, I did not. Mr. Edgerrin James.
Look, all 4 of them, you can't go wrong with either one of them.
No.
I went Clinton Portis because Clinton, 2 years was unbelievable. If he didn't tear his knee, or no, Willis McGahee, if he didn't tear his knee, I think he has a longer NFL career, even though he got drafted. But when you make the Final Four of the Heisman Trophy as a running back with your quarterback there, that says something.
Yeah, for sure. Adrian James, I mean, I'm pretty sure he has the numbers above all of them.
Yeah.
He is the all-time leading
You
rusher.
see, I don't even have him in my top 2. And we got.
In college, he was just unmatched.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was
unbeatable.
He was unbelievable. Wide receiver was actually tough for me. I went, I guess, chalk. I went Michael Irvin, one of the greatest receivers ever to play the game, and Andre Johnson.
Okay, I like that. Neither one of those guys are in my picks though. So Santana Moss
is number 2 on my list.
/ Lamar Thomas. A lot of people don't know him, but that
Lamar
is
Thomas
a
beast.
Ocala boy, and he had some big. He's like 4th all time.
Yeah.
I believe. And then Malachi Tony is my other receiver.
We discussed this earlier in the week. Should I use
went
Malachi?
back and forth. Reggie Wayne would be his backup, but Malachi Tony, it's a small kind of like Cam Ward there,
Yeah.
but Malachi just
The
that
best-
kid's something special.
The best freshman
Special.
season in the history of Miami football, and you've seen what's there. My number 2 was Kellen Winslow II,
Okay,
All-American, and the only Miami Hurricane ever to win the Mackey Award.
and he was a great tight end. And we're talking about college, so we won't have to talk about what he did later.
Yeah, no, we don't have to talk about that.
Leave all that behind. Hernandez.
Defensive line, linebacker. This is really tough, but I went with, I guess, the safe pick, but it's also the best one. It's Warren Sapp.
Warren Sapp.
Like,
that's
I could have went with a bunch of them, but Warren
Yeah.
Sapp was good every year. Unbelievable.
Cornelius Bennett,
Cornelius Bennett. I could have went Dan Morgan, like
Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis. I just went Warren Sapp because Ray Lewis did change the game, but Warren Sapp made sure nobody got to him.
College football, that dominated for Miami. Like dominated. How many sack leader? I mean, crazy.
Sack leader. He was the reason that Ray Lewis had a lot of empty ways to get to the running backs.
And then that leaves secondary.
Ooh, I was only between 2.
Me too.
Ed Reed, Sean Taylor were my 2.
Okay.
I went Ed Reed. Sean Taylor didn't play as long as Ed did. And that play that Ed did against Boston College to strip the player to save the undefeated season to get to the national title, that's...
Ed Reed is probably one of the greatest football players hands down ever. But I look more into his pro than his college. For me, it was Sean Taylor and a close second with Benny Blades.
Oh, Benny Blades, yeah. That's not
And
bad
I
at all.
loved Benny Blades. And then he had his brother Brian Blades, the receiver. Like
Yes.
I used to love them
Then he had
because
Al,
of their name. It was
then they had
Blades,
Al
yeah.
Blades that played at Miami for a couple of years, was pretty good, and then he moved on to Duke. So they have a pretty good tradition there at the school.
So I mean that's our line. That's pretty good. I think there's arguments there back and forth, but pretty much we kind of agreed on a lot of it. And
I mean, our only arguments would be like wide receiver for Miami.
then I see that you didn't pick. Well, I don't even know how to say his name, but Recepo.
Xavier Restrepo, awesome numbers,
Awesome numbers.
but I think he was there 5 years.
So the
That
numbers
says something.
skew a
But
little
I will
bit.
say he's one of the best slot receivers we've ever had. Malachi is probably going to destroy that. I could have picked Restrepo. I could have picked. There's 3 others that have better numbers than them. But again, it was a pass first offense. Irvin was doing it in a run style offense, and even Andre Johnson. People forget that Miami team was not really pass heavy. It was a run heavy offense.
And Irvin didn't have maybe the yard numbers, but his touchdowns were high.
Oh, his touchdowns were insane. I think he still leads. If not, he's number 2. I think he was at 33 touchdowns in his career. So the only thing really we have left as far as talking about the teams, consensus wise.
What teams would beat the other team?
Yeah, like when I look
Okay,
at these
so
rosters,
If you go off of mine and you put Tebow, Testaverde, and Charlie Ward up,
I would take Tebow all day, every day. Yeah. Running back, I would take any of the Miami ones we picked over work done, over anybody at Florida, just because me and you named 4 running backs from Miami that we all could have considered number 1. When we've got 3 or
I can name those for Florida too.
well,
Fred Taylor.
yeah. But
Eric
but would you take
Smith,
would you take Frank Gore or would you take Fred Taylor?
Fred Taylor.
Would you take Clinton Portis or Fred Taylor?
Fred Taylor.
Would you take Willis McGahee or Fred Taylor?
Fred Taylor.
Okay, yeah, you're on something today.
Edgerrin James.
I would still take Willis McGahee. I don't know.
And I guess we're projecting, but Willis McGahee did get hurt, so
But he still
like
his stats
Fred
were
Taylor had that longevity.
yeah.
you
Well,
know.
Willis. Well, the problem is Willis can't play 4 years when you're behind. At one time, they had Willis McGahee, Portis, and Gore in the backfield.
Right, which was a crazy back then. And then Gore ended up being as an Iron Man, I would say. Like he played 20-something years. I mean,
20 years. He's the 3rd or 4th all-time rusher in the NFL.
I got a nice patch card of his the other day for the
Frank Gore.
Frank Gore for Miami.
Wide receiver wise, this may sound really bad, but I think Miami's close. But FSU's, if you got Bolden and Warwick, man,
It's a tough combo.
that's tough. I still like Miami's, but it's close.
See, by putting Harvin in there, I'd take Harvin over all those guys
Wow, you didn't see Andre Johnson.
because Andre Johnson was great, but
Yeah.
Harvin was the playmaker.
Well-
We're talking college too.
Well, I could bring in Devin Hester, but I kind of kept Devin Hester to the side.
I thought about Hester.
Yeah, I did. Hester
I
was on my
really
list.
but he wasn't a great receiver.
Defensive line and secondary, I'm sorry, is Miami's is really, really good. But when you have Derek Brooks and Deion Sanders as your 2-piece,
It's hard to beat.
I don't care how good. I mean, Ed Reed was great. Deion was different.
I think
Derek Brooks was a game-changing linebacker at his time.
right.
And Ray Lewis was great. Warren Sapp was great, but Derek Brooks was a stud.
He was a freak.
Yeah.
But Javon Curse,
Oh, Javon Curse.
Alex Brown, Joe Hayden.
Yeah.
Complete shutdown.
Yeah, no, I know.
So, it's definitely it shows that all Florida teams have had some absolute dogs.
Now, do you see the common thread with most of our teams from Miami? Where did most of these players come from? That 3-year stretch, the 2-year stretch from the 01 team.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, like, my whole roster outside of Michael Irvin is all from those 2 teams.
And then mine's mixed up a little bit. I'm a little older, so Testaverde was. I always liked him. I liked his name. That's why.
Well, Testaverde was awesome. You also had Gino Torretta. You also had Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly.
You also had, what was the quarterback that we took from Florida that beat you guys down 30-6? Brock Berlin.
He
Yeah,
actually played for y'all.
played for 1 year and we beat you by down 30-6.
I remember he was the number one, quarterback, and we had him, and then that was the first transfer.
Then he transferred to us and kind of sucked. And then when he came to play Florida,
That
he's
one
like,
game,
well,
though,
I
he
gotta
was-
be a Miami legend, and we'll take that one game. Miami has Cam Ward. We got Darian Mensah this year, so I'm hoping it continues.
Hold on to something. One day y'all might win the championship.
No, we got 5. I think if you guys
We're talking the last 20 years.
yeah, well, if we add your guys together, Florida State and Florida, I don't think you guys get to 5. So,
Oh yeah, we were at 6,
how many do you got?
3.
You sure you got 3?
Yes,
Okay, and how many's Florida got? Florida State got
3.
No, Florida State's got 2.
You sure?
2013.
2013, 93, and they didn't win it before that.
No, they didn't.
They
So
suck
yeah,
anyway.
so we add them
FSU.
together. You guys are tied. You know, we'll get there.
Speaking of FSU, Florida, we finished the sweep in baseball last night against
Yeah,
them.
I did get to see that.
And that's what I brought in a little of my baseball cards, some Cags and some Wyatt Langford.
I may be a Florida hater, but the one thing I absolutely love is anytime Florida State loses at anything.
Right.
We do get to play them, I think, in a 3-game set to close the season, so I'm hoping we do the same thing.
That's it.
Yeah.
And we've I think we beat y'all at baseball this year too.
You beat us
And
2 out of 3, but I think we're
basketball.
both sucking right now in baseball. I think
Basketball.
we're both struggling. I think to be
We're not
honest,
struggling. We're like
well,
23-9 or something.
we're-
I mean, it's
we're
not
bo-
our greatest year.
we're both unranked, which we're kind of both were expected to
We-
be.
We'll probably be ranked again now because we just beat the number 6 team, swept them.
Oh, that's a nice. Oh, say that one more time about FSU.
Swept them.
Yeah, anytime you can sweep the broom with them, it's fine.
Love it.
But I mean, outside of that, I don't think anything on our. I think we talked the Florida teams. We told us how much Tom James killed us in every single thing we did with March Madness this year. Yeah, consensus team. I think we covered everything for the first time in under 45 minutes. I think this may be a Gainesville to the Glades all-time record when it comes to podcast time.
It's a little bit of a lull time of the year. We don't have a ton to talk about because there ain't a ton of things happening.
No,
We could have touched on the women's national championship, but nobody cares.
yeah. Well, UCLA dominated us for the people that care about college basketball, women's. They dominated South Carolina. I texted him in the middle of it, and outside him saying it doesn't matter, I was like, they're up 30 on South Carolina in the 4th, and he's like, that's not possible. I was like, yes.
I mean, the 2 best teams at the end, and the one beats the other one by 30 points. It's just
When
what?
South Carolina beat UConn, I thought no way anybody else could do what. No.
me too. Same
Especially it was 71 to 59 or no, it was 79-51. It was insane.
They just dominated it, and then they got. I think it was the whole Geno thing. Got their heads all.
I don't know.
screwed up.
UCLA does have a couple of really good players that will get drafted high. They're a really talented team, but I didn't think they would beat South Carolina by 30.
That one girl is what, like 2 foot taller than everybody.
I think she's 6'5", 6'6". Hey, look, we still beat our time
Mike
record.
goes
We're off the rails.
every once in a while. We need
So
to pause.
the good thing is coming up here in a couple weeks, spring ball should finish. Your spring game is this Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah.
Miami's is next week. After that, we're going to try to get together like our schedule preview between UF and Miami. We're supposed to bring in Tom for the USC preview.
Yep.
We're going to start talking about how Florida's going to go undefeated with Mike's this year when their schedule is not as hard as last year. They suck even worse.
You know me. I'm a homer. At least I admit it.
So just in case if you haven't followed us, anytime Mike gets a loss for Florida, it's a half a loss. So I'm predicting
0.5.
I'm predicting 4 half losses this year, but we'll see the record.
None of those.
They will not lose to Campbell's. That will be one of their highlight wins.
We better be.
If they don't beat the Campbell's, I think he's gonna
I want you to say it 5 times fast, Joe.
he's gonna be a Miami Hurricanes fan if they lose to the Campbell's.
Campbell's. Oh, jeez.
Not Campbell's soup, Campbell's.
Remember when I was younger, man? I smoked a couple Camels every once in a while.
Well, hopefully you smoke them in game 2 by 40 points. But other than that, we don't really have much on the docket. We got NFL coming up, or NHL, NBA playoffs coming up.
Playoffs.
We are going to try to do
The Lightning
something
are
with
in.
The NFL playoffs or the NFL draft.
Yeah.
We also have my favorite sport coming up here April 18th and 19th, WrestleMania 44th. This one, I don't even know where the count is.
Sports entertainment.
Yeah, sports entertainment's on ESPN free for the first hour because they got to attract people in.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if we'll have a
Get
watch party
stuck-
for
get stuck.
WrestleMania, but
Get stuck watching it in the first hour and then have to pay for it.
well, I have the subscription, so you guys can mooch off of mine so we can watch WrestleMania. Hopefully, some crunchies and munchies wings.
Does
I don't
Kurt
know.
Angle still wrestle?
Kurt Angle is doing our producing work right now.
It's true. It's
yeah.
true.
That's Dan Kurt Angle Gray over there. That's his new nickname with our podcast.
Oh yeah.
Wrong wrestler
It's true. It's true.
and wrong type of drink. That's Kool-Aid.
Oh, yeah.
But outside of that, I think we're good to go. I think we've kind of went off the rails here, but that's kind of normal for the end of our podcast.
Yeah.
So we'll talk some NBA, NHL playoffs coming soon. We're going to do an NFL draft podcast, a longer one, hopefully. We got WrestleMania, and then football is like 70 days away, 80 days away.
Already.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're going to try to go to a UF game this year and try to go to a Miami game. That's on our goal, I'm hoping.
I'm still thinking about going Saturday to the Orange and Blue game, but I don't know.
Well,
one of those things. I have stuff to do.
Well,
I should go, but I shouldn't.
Well,
go.
I've got right now. I got nothing to do. I will wear my Miami gear and go. Make fun of you guys for 2 hours. If you want to go, I'm game. That was another episode of the Gainesville to the Glades. Shout out to our sponsors, the Ocala Design Group,
Hooked Up Landscaping, Per Health Chiropractic, Studio 44 for having us. I'm Mike.
I'm Joe.
And we'll see you next time on Gainesville to the Glades.
Change was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down.